Okay, if x and y are real numbers such that x is greater than 1 and y is less than minus 1, then which of the following inequalities must be true? Okay, now first of all, two things to note. They're asking for real numbers. So just as a reminder, it doesn't have to be an integer. A real number can be a decimal, fraction, anything like that. And it's asking for which of these inequalities must be true. So our strategy for this is to find cases where we can give values for x and y that would make each of these false. If we can't find one that makes it false, then that will be our answer. Okay, so let's see. We've got x has got to be greater than 1 and y can be less than minus 1. So x can be always going to be positive. We know that. And y is always going to be negative. And it can be any number. X can be any positive number greater than 1. It can be 1,000,000 or it can be 2. Y can be any number greater than minus 1. It could be minus 2 or it could be minus 2.2. Or it could be minus 1,000,000,000 if we so wanted. It doesn't matter. Any of these could work. Okay, so let's go through our answer choices and see if we can make each of these not true. So for the first one, for example, we've got x over y is greater than 1. Can we arrange our x's and y's to be such that it's not greater than 1? Well, in this case, x always has got to be positive, any number we put in there, and the y is always going to be negative, isn't it? It's got to be. And a positive divided by a negative is always going to be negative. So that automatically makes this one wrong. All right. Let's see what we can do for B. We've got the absolute value of x squared is greater than the absolute value of y. Now this is good review. Absolute value of a number is always positive. Always positive. It's the distance that number is from the on the number line to 0. So any number we put in here, can we make this false? Can we make x this side less than this side? Okay, well I'm going to put 2 for x. So let's try it that way. X equals 2. If I take the absolute value of it, it's going to be 2. And then if I square it, it will give us 4. Okay, what about y? What if I make y, I don't know, minus 8? Okay. The absolute value of minus 8 is 8. Which is 4 greater than 8? No, it's not. Okay, so we can't have that one. Right, let's look at C then. Now I'm looking at this equation here, and I'd honestly like to simplify that if I could. I mean, I could stick some numbers in, any numbers I want, but just to make it a bit clearer, and instead of dealing with fractions, I'm saying, well, I've got a minus 5 on both sides. I can simplify that, can't I? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to simplify that. I'm going to get rid of the minus 5 on both sides, add 5 to both sides, which I can do. So now I've got x over 3 is greater than y over 3. Well, you know, I've got both of these are over 3 again. So what I think I'm going to do, just to make it a little clearer, I'm going to multiply both sides by 3 to reduce that even. So I'm left with x is greater than y. Great. Well, actually, now if I'm looking here, if x has to be greater than y, as it is here, let's look. X is always positive, which is what we're given up here, and y is always negative. So that's actually always going to be true. X is always going to be greater than y. Hey, I like it when it's the third one, it's not the last one. But let's go through and check the rest of them, just to be sure it's good practice and good review. D. I'm going to do the same thing on D. I've got this plus 1 on both sides, so I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides, and I'm going to go x squared is greater than y squared. Well, let's make x 2. Let's try this with x is equals 2 and y equals minus 3. X squared then would be 4 greater than, and y squared, and minus times a minus, if you square a negative number, it's always going to be positive. So that would make y, this side, equal 9. 4 is not greater than 9, so we know this one can't be the case. Right. And I like to leave this last one. I like to do this one because it's a good reminder, a good little review of these minus negative exponents. What these mean is really, I can rewrite this x to the minus 2. All it really means is 1 over x squared. All right, same thing on the other side. That can be rewritten as 1 over y squared. Okay, and similar to the one before it, we can substitute numbers in because remember when we square a y, it makes it positive. So we can plug in numbers where this would make this false. So it's not true. And C still is our answer.